Yeah, no, me too, 100%. Like, but that's been always my hangovers. I'm like bedridden.
Yeah.
All day.
Well, I think the trick is to keep drinking, and that's how you don't get hangovers anymore.
But like, you have to be able to
Yeah.
keep things down for that. Like, that's the whole.
Because if you keep drinking, your body's always numb, so you don't feel physical or emotional feelings, and you can become an alcoholic. I think that's the trick. It's a Friday night. We're still in quarantine, I think, right? California.
We should be.
Yeah.
Unless you lived in like Florida or Vegas. We wouldn't be, I guess we're stuck at home. So I guess we're doing another one of these videos. And today we're talking about turning 30 and what it does it mean. Where do you feel it the most? Let's open up with that question. Well, before that, let's say hi. Like, obviously, people have seen Laura before, and we have two new faces. Well, we have Juju. I was about to say your full name. Juju, and we have Brooke with us this time. All of us went to high school together at good old Visalia, Redwood High School. Good old alma mater.
Just to put it out there, the stories from your guys' last podcast, they're all true for the most part.
For the most part.
I don't remember what we even talked about.
I don't know. There's a lot of subjects.
The only thing I remember was Sean William Scott, and that was the key thing I made people know was how awesome Sean William Scott is, and that's the only thing I took from that podcast.
And your love for him goes on, like the Titanic song.
Yeah, it does. It's stronger than Ted Cruz wanting to stay in Texas during the winter. So my mind just kind of went there after because like of all these freaking memes of Texas.
Oh my gosh, but his mask though with the Texas state flag as he's fleeing Texas after like hating on people leaving during a pandemic.
But please, I have a child.
That one was good.
Billy Zane
That was a good one.
Kid. Yeah. I have a child. What a dick.
That's a good Billy Zane, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm okay though. So something that I've learned that I love is watching reaction videos, like people watching something for the first time and they're recording their reaction.
Yeah.
I love it so much. And someone watched Titanic for the first time. And first of all, how have you not? Whatever. And
right.
Then when it came to that part, like it showed that little part, I have a child. And the guy was like, what an asshole, there's not. And he like ticked off.
The rage
that this like kind of a big guy and had like a beard and was like, oh, he's upset.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I mean, like, but how old do you have to be to not have seen Titanic?
Assuming young. How old was this guy? Like I was just assuming like a younger generation.
I don't know. When did Titanic come out?
Okay, like we were at like third grade-ish because like maybe Julian was in fourth because like I for sure was in love with Leo and I for sure was like right there, like ready to see it.
It was PG-13, so I couldn't see it until I was.
Dude, watching it with my family was like a whole nother level because I didn't know about the whole like nudity scene and with like all the Catholics in one room.
Oh God. Yeah, like I remember when it opened, a girl in my class came up to me. She like ran to me and was like, have you seen Titanic? And I was like, no, I can't. I'm too young. And she was like, the girl is naked the whole movie.
What?
Kate Winslet, she got so hated on for all her nudity.
What movie was she talking about?
Like she and Naomi Watts win for most nude scenes 100%. I have seen their boobs many times.
Or Leonardo,
they're good boobs.
trying to make eye contact.
They're nice. They're great.
Before I forget, I remember like seeing Titanic on VHS. It was like a two.
Yeah, I had it.
It was
on
a two
VHS.
VHS
That's how I saw
special.
Yeah.
Right next to the Star Wars box set in Costco. And this is as a kid, like I never saw Titanic until it came on. Was it NBC or ABC? Like when the rights
on like mainstream, like
without the
Probably
titties.
really edited, like really censored.
I mean, the only like sexual scene they kept in was the hand
The
going
hand on the
down.
car.
Oh,
Yeah.
Titanic.
For anybody who's listening to this who has never seen Titanic or
Hot and
spoiler
steamy.
alert.
or still in the teens, like
They're all fine. They all live. It's a great ending.
oh yeah,
Fantastic.
You know, you're kind of, there's a tap dance in there. It's great.
yeah. It's you might even say the characters are frozen in time, you know.
Oh, forever.
But
I'll never
want to let go.
My love for that movie.
it is where that phrase "paint me like one of your French girls" came from.
Yes.
So if you ever hear your boomer parents or older brothers and sisters say "paint me like a French girl,"
like one of your French girls.
Okay, let's be real, guys. They're millennial
I'm
parents saying this. Like, you know.
These are parents our age.
you mean our
'Cause people
friends?
our age are parents.
Yeah, these are our friends saying this.
I remember
Friends with kids.
I forgot what comedian said this, but this comedian was like, the moment I knew I was old was when I was looking up MILF porn and realized these girls are all my age. And I was like, holy shit, this is true. This is how we know we're old people.
the porn, the milk porn is how you know you're old people.
Who said that? Was it Dane Cook? I don't think it was Dane Cook.
I mean, it sounds like Dane Cook. Like,
It was like, I forgot who said it, but I was like, when it hit like around the end of my 20s or 30s, I was like, oh shit, you're right. These dudes look like my peers. That's how you know you have hit that phrase. I was about to say phase in your life. The
Okay.
30s.
I have like a funny story of like, it's not when I realized I was like old, but when I realized I was an adult, it was like after age, I don't know, it was probably like early to mid 20s. And I don't know why, but it hadn't clicked that I was like an adult yet. And I was at my little cousin's birthday party at Rollertown, as we've all talked about. And something happened, and these little girls come like skating up to me. And it's like my cousin and her little friend, and one in the middle who's bawling. She's just crying her eyes out. And they're like, Laura, like, so-and-so pushed her and blah, blah, blah. And they're like ratting out some little boy. And I just like don't know any of these kids well enough to like punish strangers' children. And so I'm like, oh no, like you should probably tell an adult about that. And they all look at me so confused.
Like, we
And I was
did.
like, oh my God, they just did. I'm the adult. Like, I need to deal with this. And, like,
Oh my
that,
God.
like, click. And like, I babysat before. It's just like that moment of like, for some reason, like usually like I was only in charge if I was the only adult around. And like when there were like parents around, they told parents. And so I was like, oh God, like I need to deal with this. Like, what is happening? When did this become a thing?
Yeah,
Who put me in charge? Who thought this was a good idea?
Right.
Yeah.
man, that must be one weird way to figure out that you're old now or older or whatever age you were at that point.
Yeah, that click of like, oh shit.
Yeah. What about you two? Like, when was your guys' like aha moments where you realized that you're no longer in your 20s or you're no longer a child, tween, whatever, a dumbass?
Young adult.
Yeah, young adult. That's what I meant to say, not dumbass. Because we're all dumbasses. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's true.
I think my awakening moment was when I was mentoring some of the college students at Fresno State, and they wanted to party it up. And I looked down at my watch. I'm like, it's 10 o'clock, guys. Like, I need to be in bed right now. And the pure shock on all these kids' faces looking. Also, when you turn old, when you start referring to younger people as this kid, like type of thing. But when these kids are looking at me in pure shock, like, it's only 10 o'clock. We're just starting. And I'm like, I got to go to bed, guys. I got an early day. Like, I got to wake you guys all up in the morning. That was my realization where I'm the old person in the group.
Well, with the, I feel like there's like 5 different times because I'm still so in denial.
We have time. Go ahead.
When I went to Fullerton, right? Sorry. When I went to Fullerton, I had spent 2 years like at COS. So I was already a little bit older than everybody, the people in my class. And so when people turned like 21, that was weird. I was like, oh, I've been 21 for a while. And then it was really weird when the kids that were graduating before me were younger than me. That was weird. Because I started as a freshman. It was like my first year, and people who were in their 4th year were graduating, but I was older than them. And I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And when I found out that Facebook wasn't like a thing, that was only a few years ago. I was like, oh, we'll just find her on Facebook. And my friend was like, honey, she's not on Facebook. She's like 15. And I was like, oh, does her parent? I was thinking, oh, does her mom not allow her to be on Facebook so young? And it was like, there's Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? What do you mean only old people use Facebook? And then I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my God, yeah. It's like people 25, maybe, and above. I'm 25, I don't even know. So like 28 and older, like, yeah. And then finding during quarantine, just finding a streak of silver hair.
Mine's right here.
But you're blonde.
Dude, but I've got got so many shades going on in here right now. It's like it's gonna be 50 Shades of Grey. Like,
so that was really, oh my God. And fuck guys, I'm so sorry. I talk so much.
We love it.
Just waking up or standing after you've been sitting for a while,
right.
Your hip or your knee, your lower back just fucking hurts. And it's like, I don't understand. This was fine when I was 29. Now I'm 32. It's even worse from when I was 30.
Right. Like, it's just, and it's so fast.
Yeah, it's like your body's like, oh, my shift is up. It's the 30s.
Like, seriously. And I hate it. I hate it for people who are watching who are like older than their 30s, who are like, oh, just wait. Just wait. Oh my gosh. And it's like, you know what? No, let me be in this misery now. You know? Like, just shut up. This is my journey.
Don't
tell me that, oh gosh, it's only gonna get worse. Just wait. Oh, wait until you're 40. No, fuck off.
What's worse is none of us have kids either.
Ooh,
I know, right?
Fuck. Well, I think it's worse when somebody goes, age is just a mindset. It's just a number. You're as old as you think you are. And I'm like, bro, are you trying to lie to me or yourself? You know, it's like come on, man. Like I'm feeling it. Like I'm 28. Like I know it's gonna be cold later on when my knees start shaking.
Wait, Eric, so when was your, like, do you have a moment, like, I feel like we've all probably had a whole handful of moments. What's, like, one of the moments that stands out for you that you, like, clicked on this?
One of my moments was, so I lived in a frat house until I graduated, until I spent 6 years in college. Don't regret it. I'm still paying back the loans, whatever. It's like fine.
Van Wilder style.
Yeah, but I still lived in a frat house. And I remember coming home after a shift at Abercrombie, and like I was all shaved, right? And then whenever Asian people shave, you look young. and I was in the living room. I went up, dropped my shit off, went back downstairs, and I was in the living room in the hallway, and this girl was like, "Hey, I haven't seen you around before. Are you a freshman?" And I was thinking in my head, like, "Oh fuck, she thinks I'm a freshman, but I'm like 23." So then I was like, "There's no way I can get away with this." So I told her I was a sophomore, just to make sure that I had a little room for cushion there. But that was one of the moments where I was like, "Fuck, man, this is where I think I'm kind of old." It sort of started creeping in, and then obviously I kept talking to this girl, and I made a reference to the Power Rangers, and she asked me what are the Power Rangers, and that was when I realized I need to start dating somebody a little bit older, because now I'm old, because she doesn't even know who the Power Rangers are. And it's hard to explain to somebody how there was a TV show based off of another TV show in Japan where teenagers who looked like 25-year-olds dressed up in tight spandex costumes.
Teenagers who were 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these costumes match their racial identity, you know?
I like never realized it.
And gender.
Like the Yellow Ranger thing. I never got that until literally.
I didn't either, Laura. I didn't either.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. It was like, yeah, I was like, Power Rangers.
Yeah. I wasn't allowed to watch it because it was too violent. But I know what you're talking about, at least.
It started glitching out, so it's fine.
This is 30. Costco, it has it on sale right now.
Costco. Dude, like
Costco for everything.
Is
The
it
thing
really?
about Costco is you need a Costco card.
Or friends with a Costco card.
card?
You gotta con your friends with Costco cards, man.
Be like,
Or
hey, I'll
tradesies.
Venmo you. That's
Yeah.
actually not a bad idea.
Brooke, with you and your roommate, that's $30 a year.
Oh yeah, roommate teamwork is the shit, dude. I'll say that. Like roommate, couple, like whatever living situation you got.
So, man, like, okay, do you guys want to talk about the lies? You guys want to talk about the things that we found out were lies when we turned like 30 or as we got older?
I mean, there's so many. Like which one? Like,
Well, the first lie, we're gonna be young forever. Lies. Because nothing's gonna hurt. Lies. Because everything hurts now.
I've heard people say everything hurts.
yeah, me too. I feel like I knew that was coming. I feel like, okay, one of the lies I want to talk about first is the people talking about how high school is like the best years of your life. And I remember even in high school when I was having like a decent time, still being like, that's so depressing. Like, nah, like this can't be the best. Like it's got to get better than this. Like this is
I'm still waiting for it, but yeah.
like right, but like it just. I mean, there were some perks to high school, but at the same time, I remember still feeling very trapped in high school and being like, no, this can't be it. It's got to get better. Like, this is so depressing that, like, that's it. And, like, teenager and you're done. Like, all downhill from there.
Yeah, I remember, like, Mr. King was like, yo, Eric, you're having a good time in high school, but wait till you go to college. I was like, but high school's so fun. These are my friends forever. Also, another lie. You're never friends forever. Okay, if there's one thing that you will take away from listening to a bunch of 30-year-olds talk about life is that friendships is kind of like, I don't want to go back and reference what Chad Michael Murray said in One Tree Hill, where One Tree Hill also is another, are we millennials?
Yeah, we're millennials.
Yeah, it's another one of these older millennial shows about 30-year-olds playing 19-year-olds in high school. Anyways, it's you want to go on YouTube, look up One Tree Hill huddle formation. That in that scene, Sean Michael Murray has a quote where he talks about like memories are like don't laugh at me.
You know the scene, Eric. Come on.
Eric, you know the minute and second that they need to watch.
That's me in the office. So go ahead.
It is
Okay,
where
the office is different.
Well, okay. Sidebar: One Tree Hill and the OC had some of the best music growing
The
up.
OC had great music.
Yeah,
I've never
the
seen
soundtracks were good.
It's like
I've never seen one episode of the OC either, but I know it had good music.
if you're gonna be friends with us, you will. It's great for what it is. Now looking back at it, it's cringe, obviously, but it made for some good memories. But in the scene, yeah, Sean Michael Murray talks about how like life is filled with memories on like a fleeting highway, and hopefully sometimes you get to slow down and see it, you know. Our lights, like, I'm definitely bushing up the quote. I will put it in here.
It was super cute that they did have a lot of good quotes. I will give it that. Like from both of them. But like, that's a funny one. I love that you're like diehard fan on both like the OC and One Tree Hill, because I remember having all the feels in the time and then like all the cringe later.
Yeah.
Well, those shows started with us, right? Like One Tree Hill and the OC both premiered.
Yeah, I think we were all in high school for those.
Which is why like our class was super influenced by what those 30-year-olds were doing in high school.
Huh.
Right?
That was like every
I was watching those shows and I was like watching That's So Raven.
I was just gonna say every like high school show back in the day was like way older, playing way younger, and like
all of them.
Yeah, looking back on it, we're all such like little kids, and then like these like full-grown adults were like playing this stuff.
So Eric, is that where the polo?
Oh fuck, man!
And the puka shells, is that where that came from? Because I only watched One Tree Hill one time. That's when I went over to your house and you were watching it, and I said, "Let's watch something else." You said, "No, we're watching."
Yeah, a new episode was out. Right, it was like One Tree Hill and Supernatural, the two shows I watched on the WB before it became the CW.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, WB.
Yeah, that used to be around before. I think it turned to the CW like college years.
Yeah, hard to say.
But I remember being in high school and watching these shows, right? I'm like, there's no way high school is like this. This is all fake. But now being a 30-year-old and looking back at it, I was like, yeah, it was kind of like that. It was super cringe. We're all like, we didn't know what the world was, so we did all these weird things that we thought were like romantic or cool and cheesy. Like they're all cheesy, but it was, yeah. If you want to know how kids acted back during the early 2000s, watch those shows.
Watch Pen 15.
Yes. Honestly, Brooke, I swear that was made by one of our girlfriends. Like that show was like.
If you want what the non-cool kids were like, the non-hot, cool, rich, white kids like the OC and One Tree Hill, fucking Pen 15, man. Talk about fucking cringe. And
Nerds,
they literally are 30-year-olds playing.
Yeah. They're so great. Like
they're so great.
They're so good. Like, and it's so
I fucking love that show.
There is definitely a lot of moments in Pen 15 where I'm like, I understand Maya, because not just because she's Asian, but we also had that weird kind of growing up phase.
Yeah.
When back when the world was new to us. Now we have too much knowledge. We know too much. We know way too much.
I mean, but even then, like, we were in junior high when like 9/11 happened and stuff, and like, I mean, I feel like there was like definitely it was a balance of like,
an innocence there.
Yeah, like we had that like exposure to the world, but we also were like not so, it was before the smartphone era. It was like when not everything was in our pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's really interesting to like see that difference and that shift. And like, I mean, to be fair, like teens and preteens these days are way cuter and way more like trendy than we ever were. Like I definitely remember being like, I think they're so cute. Like honestly, like I did not have anywhere near the fashion sense. Like if I hadn't met our girlfriends when I did, but yeah, it was different. But like,
well, kids nowadays, they have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We used to have Xanga.
Hell yeah.
We had Xanga. And the only
MySpace.
And like, but also I think, dude, MySpace was fucking perfect.
MySpace was awesome.
If you wanted to understand how much angst a person had, listen to their MySpace playlist. Whatever.
Oh my god, the
I wish
playlist.
Facebook had playlists. I wish Facebook did. Oh my gosh.
You know,
I remember when Facebook started to become a thing in college.
Yeah.
And I was like, people aren't going to use that. We have MySpace. And
it seemed like a fad.
Yeah.
Dude, legit, everybody who decked out their MySpace were mini coders.
Right?
Right? You had to learn JavaScript in order to change your MySpace, you know?
Yeah. You had to like figure out who knew it to like copy it. And
Yeah, you'd be like, all right,
yeah.
where you got to go into like, was it it's not the safe mode, right? It's like the debug mode where you have to like punch in the code and it will make your background all like red or pink or shoot fucking
Brooke,
stars at you.
You did this too. You're looking confused, but you did it too. It sounds more complicated than what we thought of it as the time. Like we didn't realize what we were doing.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Like, yeah, it was like the way we personalized it. It was coding. We just didn't know we were coding because we were getting it off of I know, right?
They tricked us. They tricked us into learning how to code.
Right? We had no idea.
I didn't tell you how to code now.
No, me neither. But we did it, girl.
We did do it, yeah. It's like,
all right.
Yeah.
Look at millennials.
Yeah, kids nowadays are so spoiled with their freaking templates or with
non-dial-up internet.
Non-dial-up internet. Dial-up internet was a thing. Freaking, man, YouTube videos, you would have to like wait days for it to load, or you have to go to your friend's house who had DSL before cable internet was a thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so DSL, I will never stop thinking of this, which is so random. So I don't know, Brooke might know this story. Some girl, when we were like teens or preteens, comes up to Bea and is like, "You got DSL, girl?" And she's like, "I don't even know what that means." She's like, "I don't even have internet." And and the girl's like, "No, dick sucking lips." And then and Bea and all of our girlfriends were super innocent at the time, so I think Bea was immediately offended, but also like flattered because we wanted to be cool and sexy, but we also didn't know anything about being cool and sexy.
Wow.
And every time I hear DSL, that's what I think of is Bea's story about
That's hilarious. I don't think I've heard that. And if I did, it was a million years ago.
It was a million years ago, but I remember Bea's I specifically remember her face because she was so facially expressive and just like the way and she had those like thick lips and she was just like so flattered and so offended at the same time.
Eric.
Yes?
Yeah.
Well, what story is this?
So drama class, me and Amanda, everyone still thinks that we're secretly lesbians.
It's like Bea and I, non-sexual lesbians, dude. You're just like, you're soulmates, you're in love. It's just
we're
different.
in love with each other, but no thanks. Yeah. So senior year, I think, for our acting final for drama class, we were doing a scene from the children's hour, and my character is in love with Amanda's character. So it's like unrequited lesbian love.
Character.
And we're talking, and fucking Eric Sackersert shouts in the middle of our scene, "Kiss."
Of course he does.
Oh man.
We weren't even done with the scene. And just kiss.
It sounds like one of those things where I definitely would have done. I'm pretty sure I said it.
You did.
I remember yelling out so many stupid things. I think looking back at it now, I don't regret any of them because they make for great stories. But I think I remember the moment when it kind of clicked in my mind where growing up, I kind of wanted a lot of attention, you know. It's just because obviously I grew up in a conservative Republican Asian house, Republican or conservative as in like politics and religion and culture and all that stuff. So I didn't have a lot of friends.
Like, yeah.
Brooke just
Yeah.
had a revelation of this is 30.
I did.
Is this gonna be your sixth revelation?
Yeah.
Right.
The facial expression said it all.
I can't believe I fucking said that.
The process.
How fucking hypocritical. God, I'm the worst. Wow.
You know, I was just thinking about when you were telling that story about like dances and high school dances. I remember maybe around it was around when I turned 21. So growing up, right? Everybody says the best way to dance with a girl in a high school dance was just to go behind them and just start dancing. And if she wants it, then she wants it, and not, she would just walk away. I'm not condoning this. This is actually you're invading people's personal space.
We were early 2000s.
But these are the things that we were taught as kids. You know, I'm thinking is like, as a person
wasn't taught back then.
Yeah, as a person who never had the sex talk with my parents because we did everything by arranged marriages in Asia.
Oh, interesting.
And so in America, I had to ask my buddies, like Juju, I'm like, hey, how do you dance with random girls and dances? Like, go behind them.
I did not answer.
I said, like Juju. I didn't say it was Juju. And they'd be like, just go behind her and start grinding. And if she wants it, then take it. I'm not condoning this. It's pretty fucked up. But and this is these are what we were taught as you know, like young males. This is how we get women on the dance floor. And obviously this kind of carried on through college. But when I turned 21, one of my roommates, his name is, I have to edit his name out. My old roommate, super ripped, hella gay, and he was a ninja. He was a gay ninja.
Oh, the one you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a gay ninja because he was a gymnast. He's like, Eric, you're turned 21. Let me take you to a bar. I'm like, well, no bar's gonna take me because you have to wait a day to go in there. It's like, not for you. We're gonna go to a gay club, or gay bar. We went to Q Bar. So we ended up going to Q Bar, and then I love electronic music and I love $1 mixed drinks because it was hella cheap. And
who doesn't?
And we grew up in the valley. Yeah. It's like
it's like I'm not gay, but I'm there. I'm gonna go there, hang out with my homies, and just enjoy myself.
Love gay bars.
Gay bars are awesome. I love gay bars.
So going there as a 21-year-old, first time in a gay bar, I'm just like dancing, trying to just hang out with, and then some guy just comes out of nowhere and starts grinding on me. And I'm like, hey, whoa. I was like, I'm not sorry, man. I'm not trying to dance. I'm just here with my friends. And then fucking hit me, dude. It was like, holy shit. So this is what girls meant when they say I'm just here with my friends.
Yep.
And it was just
we're just here with our friends.
I'm just here with my friends trying to have a good time, not trying to get grind up on. And that was when I learned, like, hey, maybe the back attack is not the right way to meet a random person.
I've never heard that before. It's so good.
Sure. That's hilarious.
And that was one of the revelations like I had as an adult. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should talk to him like a person instead of like a fire hydrant, you know? But these are the things, you know, these are some of the lies that we were taught as a young age that we now realize as an older adult that, hey, maybe this is not right. I mean, it's still being practiced, I'm not gonna lie, but it was just, we grew up in that generation where, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like women didn't have much rights yet, or didn't have much voice.
Kids are way more woke these days.
Yeah, now women are more vocal about personal space and
have a safe place to talk.
Safe place. Yeah, because
more autonomy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a rude awakening, and obviously it was something we all had to learn, and I learned by getting my ass grinded on by some big black dude. But I think Bubba was his name.
You were Bubba's fire hydrant for a little bit.
I was Bubba's fire hydrant, and it was So if moms, if you ever want your kid to learn to respect women, take them to a gay club.
I mean, I'll stand with that advice like all day, but yeah.
I mean, he will learn to respect women, or he's gonna like it. You know, so
or he'll make a discovery about
Oh
himself.
yeah. Oh,
I mean, either way, it'll be a
discover something, all right.
So, talking about the question from 5 years ago that you brought up was, what lies have been told to us?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Lies
it's
or
so
discoveries that you made.
I don't know if it's so much lies as it is expectations.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
having a house and having a career by your 30s. And it's like, well, I'm there and I don't have any of that shit. Like, so I think it's more, in my experience, I guess, it's more expectation than I promise you this is the way it is, blah, blah, blah. If someone said there's going to be world fucking peace by the time I'm 30, then I would be like, yes, I was lied to.
Right.
But okay.
Wait.
Hi, I'm back.
All right. Yeah, I'm back too. Fucking. So sorry, Brooke. You were saying something before my internet fucking gave out for a little bit.
No, Julian was started saying something, and then I came out.
Oh, yes.
Julian was going off of what Brooke had said and talking about expectations. That's what it was.
Expectations of like, we should be married by 25 or be in a serious relationship and stuff like that. And trying to explain to my friends who are trying to hook me up all the time, like, oh, we'll find somebody. And it's like, I just want to be me. I want to be able to go to a restaurant, eat by myself. My favorite thing still to this day was going to see Kung Fu Panda 3 by myself. And I was laughing. Number 3. I was laughing.
Going to the movies by yourself is the fucking bomb. I prefer going to the movies by myself because then I don't have to worry about another person enjoying it or worried about their opinion or worried or not just be able to sit and enjoy myself. Although I love seeing movies with my mom, but there's always, I don't know, still like, I hope there's not going to be anything awkward, you know? Going to the movies by yourself. The tits.
So you didn't go see Forgetting Sarah Marshall with your mom?
I haven't even seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but my sister saw Knocked Up with my mom and they just wanted to die. They were like, I don't know if I can ever look at you again.
Trust us when we say this, Brooke, it's worse with Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And so then this shot comes up and it's Jason Segel, who I just think is a cutie, but he's like
so
straight
cute.
up naked and like fully naked. And
like, here's my peen.
For you.
Yes. And so like I'm chilling, like, whoa, this was not what I was expecting. And then I look at both sides and both the boys are like making the craziest faces and staring at me so that they don't look at it. Because we're in theaters, so it's very big on the screen. And just like
I guess me and my friends and I are.
But like as women, I feel like we've seen so many female actresses and so many women naked on so many things. It's hard for me to sympathize when men are like, penis. And I'm like, dude, like until you've like just constantly bombarded with like boobs and vagina, like,
I
like,
know.
just wait till you go to
Drives me
college.
crazy.
You're gonna be seeing hella penises.
Dude, sorry,
No,
my
I mean,
camera's
like,
off because
I
I'm
mean, like-
adjusting my lighting. But the first time,
I meant dick pics, not fucking.
sure, Eric, sure.
That's what I meant. I mean, also dick pics are not cool.
Oh, dude,
no, they're fucking not.
Unsolicited.
Can we just talk about airdropping dick pics for a second?
Yeah.
Because like I didn't realize that so I used to try to keep my Bluetooth off because in San Francisco everyone has their stuff on, and you'd randomly be in like crowded public areas, and then just like ding, your phone comes up, and the only time I airdrop it's just people like someone I know that's sitting right next to me where I'm like, oh, I'll send you this picture, look for it. Random strange men are just out there, like dick picking, airdropping, whatever, just sending it out.
Dick picking?
They're just manifesting some penises. I don't know what's happening, but like they're just out there and like it's so like and I really the smart ass in me really wants to respond that like child pornography is illegal and you shouldn't be taking pictures of like
I love that.
But then they'd have my number, like, because then it was like sent to them or my email or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, now you're just in my vicinity, so you can send it to anybody. But if I send this smart ass reply back to you, then you've like got my number. And you
Wait, how do you get like random messages from
so if
phones?
your Bluetooth is on, you can receive. So you don't have to accept it, but it will show. It will still come. It will still show up. And
It's coming.
I shouldn't
Alright.
use the word come.
Oh God.
But it will still pop up, and pop up too. Whatever. There's not anything I can say that's not innuendo-y at this point, but it just like shows up on your phone, and it's like you accept it or deny it, but it still is like it shows you the picture. So it's just like, and there was one time that, oh my gosh, so there's this like online thing called Girls Love Travel, and I'm like a part of that like group. And there was this girl who was like stranded in San Francisco, and she was young, and it was like a friend who posted it, and she was like, I don't know, whatever. I went and like met up with this girl because I was thinking about if I was like a teenager lost in San Francisco, I'd want someone to come save me. So I went and like met up with this girl, and I'm showing her around and helping her get situated. And we're wandering out somewhere. And I had literally just talked about how I usually try to keep my Bluetooth off because of this, but sometimes I keep it on because at home my speaker is connected via Bluetooth and I forget to turn it off. Mm-hmm. And we're out and about, and out of nowhere, first she gets a random airdrop dick pic, and I'm like, oh gosh, you gotta leave your Bluetooth off in the city. And then all of a sudden my phone, the same dick pic pops up on my phone, and I'm like, damn it. And I'm looking around trying to figure out who the creeper is that is like dick pics. And like,
it's so gross. Like, what kind of sick? Well,
okay, so like I'm all for like nudity and comfort and like like embracing your sexuality, but I'm all for consent, and like the randomness of just the flashery thing bugs me.
Like, it's not cute.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm for like the little, like, you want to like be a little scandalous or a little sexy. I get that, but like the randomness of just like, I'm gonna like throw this out here in any phone in my vicinity /
it's
whoever.
Like, surprise.
Right. It's like worse than the dick in the box.
Dude, it's like, first of all, I was gonna say, like, what madman has their Bluetooth on? That's like 10% of your battery off the bat.
I just sometimes forget it.
That's what I want to know. Is like, it's like, do you come from like a battery factory or battery tree where you just pick battery powers out of nowhere? It's like,
it's only if I forget for my speaker, because like my speaker always connects via Bluetooth, and usually I was so good, and then every now and then, and that's why I'm so good, because every now and then you forget and you slip up and a dick pic just pops up out of nowhere, and you're like, ugh, this is why. Like, no one's out there just sending vulva pics. Like, well, I don't know. Maybe there is. I shouldn't say that. There's probably some like
vulva pics.
Mm-hmm. The whispering eye, yes.
Oh, the whispering eye. I always love that scene where he's like, I miss you, whispering eye. Like, he laughs so I like, he's a vagina.
Role models.
Whispering eye.
Yeah, have you seen
role models, dude? It is another
No.
millennium movie.
I don't like crude stuff.
It is.
I wish I did.
It's also got like a wholesome cuteness to it, because it's like, I don't know, it's a weird and it's Paul Rudd. I love me some Paul Rudd. Like, I will
do
forever
love
be
Paul
in love
Rudd.
with Paul Rudd.
And Sean William Scott.
Yep.
And Eric's
Sean William Scott's in
boyfriend.
it.
Eric's wannabe boyfriend, which we're just gonna keep making videos with Sean William Scott's
About
name
Sean William
dropped
Scott?
until Sean William Scott returns Eric's love.
Amen.
I'm sorry, my lighting sucks. I'm trying to figure it out and I can't, and so I'm just.
It's kind of moody.
I'm gonna be the dark creature.
I'm
gonna be Hagrid in the corner here.
No, it's a little sexy, a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Shimmy, shimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. So what happens? So Juju was saying something about like something he learned, or roommates or something, right? Were you guys talking about roommates? Oh yeah, expectations.
He's talking about going out on his own and like doing the movie thing or doing the dinner dates.
Yeah, that's where.
Not being set up. We went on a tangent.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Dicks,
it's totally
man.
my fault.
What happened? I mean, Juju.
I don't know. You ended off with dick, so I didn't know how to respond to that.
Like every
It was
woman,
totally my fault. I'm so sorry.
I think the dick pic was my fault.
You just experienced what every woman has felt after receiving an unsolicited dick pic. Um, yeah. So going back about roommates, I remember watching How I Met Your Mother. Was it How I Met Your Mother or one of those TV shows where they said that if you have a roommate by the age of 30, you should reevaluate your life. And I'm just like, yeah, fuck those losers, dude. I'm gonna be so rich by 25, and I had a roommate until I was fucking 30, man. I was like, oh man.
I have a roommate now.
I don't know. I remember like being a teenager and being told it was so scandalous to live with your boyfriend before marriage. Obviously, I have been there, done that.
Yeah.
Like,
This was these fucking Quaker rules.
Honestly, it's so funny like how much like things have changed in such a short period of time, and I do feel like so many things have come so far. But even like of just like being shamed for doing things on your own versus like being impressed by that or supportive of that, like that people are confident and comfortable enough. Because I feel like when people aren't confident and comfortable enough to like have a meal or go to see a movie on their own, like what else can you not do on your own? Like you need your hand held for everything. Like, you know, like it's nice to have your own taste and be brave enough to follow that. Like,
yeah, like like our society, the rules. I mean, I'm gonna fucking start blaming society now, but it's just like the things that we learned at that young age was based on these archaic rules off of fuck it, dude, off of a fucking bullshit religion, that institutionalized religion that should not have been the core values that we base things on, you know? And, you know, like marriage was one of them. Sex, marriage, or even going back to the story where about the back attack, like learning about like sexuality, like growing up in the Central Valley, it's fucked up. I'm not gonna lie. Like growing up in the Central Valley, we were pretty close-minded when it came to like gays or homosexuals. You know, the only thing that we accepted were like lesbians. I mean, because we're stupid men, and
except for me with being the weird one from the Bay Area coming to the Central Valley.
Yeah, because you've seen it. Like for people who grew up in the Central Valley, we were taught like gay is wrong. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. It was just something we learned, you know, and just going older, we learned that you should just be yourself and accept whatever love that you want. And obviously, I think that was one of the lies that we learned. That was one of the things that we learned of our lives when we turned 30, you know?
Well, or before too, like I think also like sexuality is such a spectrum, and like we act like it's black or white, like it's one or the other, and that you like have to pick something and stick with it. And like also like there's just like I feel like there's so many like layers within that to dissect as well, because there's like the spectrum of gender, the spectrum of sexuality, the spectrum of like individual people and personalities. And I think that it's so funny that like especially people who are like somewhere in between and embrace that themselves, there's so much, even today, so much societal pressure of like you have to be one or the other, or you are this way and you're just pretending to be that way. And like there's all these like I don't know, there's back and forth, and like not as much of a give and take, where I think a lot of it comes from religion. A lot of it I think comes from like different just all the biases that are built into our society, whether that's like race or religion, or like just like the whole gender normativity kind of thing, like and sexual normativity. Like it's just I don't know, it's like that heteronormativity, that's what the word I'm looking for. Like it's funny, like I remember hearing this term when we were younger, especially in the Central Valley, of like the gay agenda. And it cracked me
my God.
so much, right? Like the gay agenda was like, don't kill us, don't get mad at us for like loving who we love. And like, and it's so funny because they act like, you know, people being gay and being accepting of that is then going to force younger people and other people to be gay too, which is hilarious because straight people have been doing this forever, of literally forcing straightness on like their children.
Yes.
Like so many things,
and themselves.
Yes, and themselves. And like it's so funny when you see these things, like these little kids dressed up as like child bridegrooms and stuff like that, and they talk about how cute it is, or like talk, you know, oh, who's your girlfriend or boyfriend, when they're like so little. And then at the same time it's like, or like just even in general, like I remember definitely having like being sexualized at a young age just for like like looking a certain way or being a certain way, where it was just assumed like these roles that were like kind of forced on you, and then also shamed for those same like roles. And like, I don't know, it's so frustrating. Like, I do think it's a Central Valley problem, but I also think it's like an everywhere problem. Like, if you look at it really, and like even in the Bay Area where they're so much more open-minded and so much more accepting, there's still that stuff. There's still bigots out there. And like, it's just crazy to me. Like, I love the Castro like district so much, and I love like the areas that are so much more colorful and so much more like flamboyant, so much more down. And yet even that, you still see like these random hate crimes and stuff, or like the Asian American like things that's happening right now with COVID, like all these attacks on older Asian Americans, even though like especially in the Bay Area, there's so many different Asian cultures all in one, and it should be very accepted and celebrated. And instead, there's still these random bigots and these random assholes that are just like attacking and hating on people. And like, I don't know, I think it's half like us getting older, and it's half like a sign of the times, but like, I don't know, it's also just like more people finally being connected and being like vocal and having the vocabulary and like knowing what this is and being more aware, like, and finally talking about stuff and being less afraid, even though there's still the same threat. Because like, if you look at the transgender community, there's people being murdered like all the time, or Native Americans. Like, there's so many different groups that are still like targeted to this day. And yet at the same time, like, I hope we're getting better. Like,
well, do you think that?
But I don't know.
Do you think that we're starting to see it more because we're older, or do you think it's happening more because of the shift in the times, or because people are now being more vocal? I'm not trying to victim blame. Let's put it out here. Like what do you think is causing?
No.
I don't know. Me personally, I believe that it increased the spark within the last presidency. I didn't see as much when I was in college, and we still have the same social media, the same posts and everything like that. I didn't see as much hate crime until this last presidency. That's my personal opinion. Others may agree, but I think the writing's right on the wall.
Yeah. I mean, politics for sure is a thing. I also think though, technology, man, like more people have access to technology. More people are like recording their lives. Like more people are capturing things. Like, and people are like less afraid to post things. And so like, I think it's like sign of the times, like politically, but I also think that like, it's kind of more natural now that we're sharing things and that we're picking up things, and that mainstream media is picking up stuff that like individuals are posting, and it doesn't have to just be someone who has access to a real camera in the right place at the right time and sending it into us like a media station. Like now it's like people can like put it up within like seconds, you know what I mean?
Seconds.
Yeah. And so like, I don't know, I think it's half access. And then, but you're right though, like I feel like that was the scariest thing for me about Trump's presidency, is I feel like he just gave such a voice, and just that rhetoric being continued and like put out at that level, like that it just like kind of motivated those individuals. It was like, have you guys heard that term, like the dog whistle, like for as far as racist or bias, like that there are certain terms or certain, like basically the concept of the dog whistle is just like that certain words or certain actions, certain things that mean something to people who have those biases and those beliefs, when it gets like broadcast at that level, those are the ones that pick it up. So it's like, to me, when I think of like an example of that, even though there's been so many in the last few years, was like Trump with his like Proud Boys thing of saying like stand by instead of like, you know, stand down or like stop or like, you know, really condoning it. He said things like stand by, and like I feel like it's just those little things of like, oh, you know, we hear it, our leader is saying this, like, let's step up. And like, yeah, I agree though. Like, I mean, obviously I'm biased because like most of my time in this, in the Bay Area was also during like, yeah, I moved there right before and right after like Trump's presidency. So a big majority was during it. And like, there's been so much against it, and there's so much that like gave me hope. But at the same time, I know that it's a bubble where that was like, you know, obviously that was the place where it was going to be most hopeful. But like, I don't know, like that, that reaction still, the fact that we're supposed to be the liberal, open-minded ones, and like that stuff was still happening there, and those attacks are still happening there. Like that's not a great sign for where it's happening. Like, you know, the other side of it where it's more conservative areas. Like,
Yeah, I remember
like
when
wasn't there a Jeep running over?
Yep.
Yeah, Visalia. Then yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What, didn't something happen in Visalia that like made national?
It was Black Lives Matter protest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ran him over with a fucking Trump flag in the back of the car.
Yeah. You know, the sad thing is, like, I remember being as a kid, seeing some of this around me and just not really, I want to say accepting it, but I just saw it around me and just thought to myself, it doesn't pertain to me because I'm not getting victimized, or it's not me being attacked because I would have defended myself. But I think that's just the mentality we had growing up, you know. And one of the things I learned when I got older was empathy, or caring for other people who aren't you. And I started to realize that not everything that happens has to be about you for you to want to do something different about it. I remember my friend, he said, the only reason why you're caring about it now is because you're now seeing it. But I think it was worse than that, because I did see it and I just didn't fucking care because I thought I was better than all these other people who were getting attacked. Because I had a better job.
We internalize that. Like,
Yeah.
It's like society is always presenting these ideas, and even when you don't, and also you don't always recognize something as being like a bias because you just think it's like,
well, I think I did.
Like, I don't know.
I think I did recognize it, but it's more like, it was more, I don't know, like I told this to Laura many times, like in between the ages like 17 and 25, I was on a fucking high one, man. Like I thought my dick was huge, man. Like fucking, I just swung it everywhere. And it's just like, for me, I just didn't think it mattered to me. And I just thought I was better than the people being attacked. I don't know if that makes sense, because I've always I guess I've always envisioned myself joining the masses and not being a part of the group that's outside. Did I phrase that right?
No, I see what you're saying, Eric. Basically,
It was like I was basically riding this American dream.
mm-hmm.
And I thought the harder I rode the dream, the more easier or more ease of access I would have to be inside this select whatever America I thought was going to be. Until as I got closer to seeing what it really was, that was when like, oh shit, this is not what I want. This is actually not right. And I think as I got older, I think that's one of the things I started to realize was like, shit, maybe what we learned as kids were just fucking lies. You know, like what was this American dream? What is this model minority? What is reality? What is life? I'm not fucking meme. What is life with that cat?
Well, it goes back to Eric. What is history? It's who wrote it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Writing history. Who's leaving certain things out? What is their agenda that are writing the history books that teach the youth today?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who is in power and who's benefiting from like that story?
Well, it's like my wife, she's a teacher, and when she teaches the poor side of school, which is a lot of immigrant families and stuff like that. And when she teaches, here is Mexico before the major revolution, and she shows Mexico going all the way up the West Coast, and the shock of these kids. Wait, this was Mexico at one point, like California,
right?
Mexico, but yet we're told that we need to leave. Like that shock and everything like that. And it's like, it's something that's really skipped over for the most part. So it goes back kind of like Eric, how you were saying, it's like you just kind of accepted it. Like kind of like how we accepted being a Mexican family. It was like, okay, well, we're just looked down upon. That's basically it. We're just going to be field hands and stuff like that for the rest of our lives. But it's like our parents are like, no, you're much more than that. Basically, it's just that next generation. And I agree with you. It's when you get older, you definitely become more empathetic towards others because you have more experiences under your belt and you know what it's like to be in those type of circumstances.
Yeah, I think when you get older too, you start to realize that the world's bigger than California. The world's bigger than America. The world's bigger than Earth. There's a whole universe out there. Unless you never left the Central Valley, then you're kind of fucked. But anyways, like, But it's like I think, yeah, when you get older, you start to realize how small your life really is in comparison to what has happened around you, like, and obviously history is one of the things that you have to learn to realize this too, because America's only like what, 230 years old or something?
We're at
80.
least 250.
Maybe 250 compared to like the rest of the world.
Like, who the fuck do we think we are?
Right. Well, yeah, and
know?
that's funny too. Like, literally, like, I mean, obviously, there's Native Americans here, so we weren't like Native Americans were well established.
Columbus
before
Day, dude. We still had
was
Columbus
here.
Day in until like fucking a few years ago.
Yeah, well, it was like that's what's so funny. Like the whole anti-immigration and the xenophobia thing is so interesting to me because it was like founded by immigrants, and it's
I know.
like literally, if you're like a white person, you're like a descendant
You're
of an immigrant, like, or an immigrant yourself. Like there weren't white people here originally, so like
There weren't.
yeah,
There's a
so,
whole
like,
the fucking Mayflower, man.
yeah. So that mentality of like, oh, people coming and stealing our stuff, it's like we did, like
Yeah.
like, are you worried about that because your ancestors legit did that? Like my ancestor, like straight up, like it just
Yes.
so ironic. And like especially here in California, the anti, like especially since Trump, like the anti-Mexico thing and like Mexican thing has been so interesting to me because California is so like rich with Mexican culture. Like we were part of Mexico, so how can you like be a Californian and hate on Mexican culture? Because like especially in the Central Valley, like I mean, I feel so like spoiled by getting to like be around so much Mexican culture and have Mexican
Right?
like how I don't understand that here.
I know.
Like, we're against, like, I don't know. Like I feel like I've talked about this before at some point, probably to use when Trump made the comment about the whole like shithole countries when he was referring to Haiti, I was in this intercultural communications class and I had this Haitian guy in my class, and it was like literally the next day, and he like came and like spoke about Haiti and like about like his culture and about how beautiful and like wonderful it is, and like yes, that there are certain problems, but like here's why, and what France had done, and like what all these different like influences had been, and like how they were such an interesting revolution, and yet how they were like forced to pay for that, and like just there's a reason why that things are shitty there, and it's not because of Haiti, and it's not because of the Haitians, it's because of like the European influence, and like influence is a very nice way to say it, like, but the problems that were like caused there. And so it's so funny that like Trump, this white/orange man, is like out there hating like on these people who really didn't have anything to do with like the problems that were there. They're just like trying to survive and trying to like thrive on this. And like I don't know, like I just don't, but I also think that like the standards of whiteness are really interesting, of like even like white people like can't hold up to most of those standards, and yet then they're forcing like every like so like I have like a bias towards like I've studied stuff and like worked a little bit in the medical field, and like the medical field is super interesting with that, because you'd think that the medical field, everyone's there trying to help people and do better, but like there's so much that was literally founded on these white, old, rich, male like doctors that were like the only people allowed to get educated back in the day, the only people allowed to like practice back in the day, and they based everything on standards that fit them, ignoring the fact that there's a bunch of different body types, that there's a bunch of different like health situations. And that's why if you look into it, and like different races and different cultures, they have like in theory have more health problems, but not really they have more health problems, they just aren't cared for as well, because like the standards and stuff don't fit them. Or there's like this assumption that like women and different people of color have like a higher pain tolerance than like the average person, even though like we all have like a similar pain tolerance. It's just like literally not catered to in the way like of whiteness is. Like there's so much crazy stuff. Like honestly, it's like it's really sad, and it's really like it's a heartache and a headache. Just like you guys got to look into it. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah,
like,
you guys ever read that book? No, I didn't read it. I heard about it. It was called The Bell Jar or Bell Curve. Bell Curve. Not
Bell Jar. That's Sylvia Plath.
Yeah, that's Sylvia Plath. No, The Bell Curve. The Bell Curve was written by this doctor or the scientist or fucking whatever he is. So she was a poet, and she accompanied this scientist who wrote this book called The Bell Curve. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's called The Bell Curve, where it talks about and analyzed all the different races in the world and talked about why white people are the best due to biology.
So he did statistical analysis about why white people are the best.
Yeah. They said black people were too stupid, Asian people were too smart, and those are the only races I cared about. I forgot about what he said about other people, but I'm definitely gonna put the facts up if I'm wrong. But it's called The Bell Curve.
Look that up. Is it okay? There's somebody in one of my anthropology classes or something. We talked about this guy. I can't remember the name, but he was what was that? There's like an old timey. It was like considered a form of science. It's not like there's no real science behind it. It was just like stupid old timey original doctors like getting their start, and they were like measuring people's heads, and they were trying to like determine like their like basically their mental worth and like their capabilities through these like very crude, totally inaccurate stuff. And it was basically, instead of like them testing things to prove a theory, they were like deciding on a theory and like looking for evidence to prove it. You know what I mean? Like, and so they were going around like trying to like prove kind of like, I wonder if it's like a similar.
Is this the same thing?
I'm curious because that's what I'm wondering. Like I might need to Google it. There was like one of my, I don't know if it was my anthropology or sociology.
Raceology?
It took me so long to get through school, you guys. Like I took so many classes. It's very hard to keep them straight these days. But there was one we talked about this, of just this guy who was just an asshole and went around trying to prove that he was like great. And in trying to prove his own greatness, he ended up just destroying like so many people's like, you know, ideas of themselves, because like I don't know, that's what's like so interesting about all the studies and all the sciences. If you look back on it, like there's so many great things that have come out of them eventually, but there's so many like terrible starts, like whether it's psychology or anthropology or sociology or psychology, some really, really messed up stuff of these like kind of evil people just like trying to like mess with other people. And like, dude, even shoot, what's the word? What's it called when they're trying eugenics?
Oh, the study of race.
Yeah, well, the I don't study is a nice word. It's like the
cleansing a race.
I was gonna say they're like manipulating. It was literally the Nazis got their start. Did you know that like some of the original eugenics stuff, ironically, started in like the Bay Area? It was these like scientists in like America that basically took it out on like Latin Americans. I don't know if it was just Mexico or like South America, but they literally like illegally and without telling them sterilized a bunch of women, like so that they wouldn't make more babies of this specific race. I think I don't know if it was from Mexico or somewhere in South America, but they were like attacking like targeting Latinos or Latinas, I guess, because it was all mostly women. And it's so messed up. And like literally freaking Nazis like took that info and ran.
We're like, that's a good idea.
Right? Like legit, like straight up, like, I mean, obviously we all know how bad the Nazis are, but like we kind of like don't talk about as much like the really dark stuff that has happened right here in the home of the free, like land of the brave. And like it's crazy because it's both like women and people of color have been attacked so much throughout the years, and there's so many terrible things that are going on still to this day, but like those kind of roots that were like started like right here in our like, you know, cultural mixing pot. And like
I remember like I'm glad that I had Mr. Fuller, because he taught us about the Tesla stuff.
Oh, like OG Tesla.
It's called Tesla, right? I'm not just fucking.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was like Tesla. I was waiting for. Correct me. And because you know he was a great storyteller, so he taught us about that. And I had that AP Psych teacher. It wasn't Mr.
Oh, I had him too.
It was Mr.
I forgot his name.
I had him for AP Psych, and he taught us about the I'm pretty sure he taught us about the syphilis thing in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it Chicago?
I think so.
Where they
Long time.
told African American males that they were being treated for syphilis, but they weren't. They were getting placebos so they can study the virus on the human body.
So they could see how it like they degenerated, like how the disease affected them and how basically it killed them. Like, but they
what the fuck,
dude? Yeah, and there's
what
like
a fucking nightmare,
dude. The one lady.
Did you guys know about this, Juju and Brooke?
No.
You guys know about the syphilis study?
Dude,
No.
I don't know the syphilis story.
Dude, the syphilis study.
crazy.
You guys, that's why Black people don't really want the vaccine because they fucking kind of went through some shit with the whole syphilis thing.
Do you know that one lady too? Like, there's the one lady. They literally still to this day, her cells are still used in so many studies.
yes, that I've heard of.
Yeah,
that I've heard
this
of.
one woman, she was a Black woman who was literally, they took her cells were like regenerating in a way that was like not normal. They did not save her. They took her cells, without like telling her that they were taking it for like a scientific study, to this day, her stuff is still used and has made so much money for so many people because so many studies and so many medicines and things have been like built off of her tissue. And they did not tell her. They did not tell her family. This woman was never like benefited from this. Her family never benefited from this. And to this day, her stuff is still being used. Like her body tissue is still like out there being used in scientific studies and making people money. And no, like her family and herself has never had any kind of benefit, whether monetary or like actual help for like her own like issues. And yeah,
It's Henrietta.
that sounds right. I'm so bad.
Fuck, I'm so embarrassed.
I know.
I should
really,
fucking know this.
I know like all these like stories, and I'm so bad with like the legit like the detailed like the name.
I don't want to say it wrong. I know her first name's Henrietta.
I'm
I
gonna
think I
Google
know
it.
her last name, but I'm afraid to say it because I'm afraid of being wrong. I'm gonna tell you if I'm right.
Well,
I
that's
won't
what
cheat.
that's what
Julian, what were you gonna say?
that was what edits
No.
for.
I was just gonna
Lax.
say,
I was right. Fuck. Sorry.
Wait, what was it?
Lax.
Black.
I fucking knew it. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, Julian, what's
Henrietta.
that?
no, I was just gonna say it makes like based off of these stories, it makes sense why like my older relatives will not go to the doctors. They will just, and that's why they're like some of them get stage 4 cancer by the time they go, where it's like so bad. It's just because at the end of the day, it's like we're guinea pigs.
Yeah.
It on, and that makes sense why a lot of minorities. And it also makes sense, probably, Eric, why whenever we type something into WebMD, it's always cancer or death. Like we don't get
Dude, yeah.
cancer.
It was like there should be like 2 questions WebMD gives you: Are you white or not white? If you're not white, you're just dead.
Dude, I don't know.
Cause of
like,
death,
WebMD says
cancer,
everyone's gonna
cancer
die.
or bullets. It's gonna be one of those.
Oof.
I mean, that's all the valley, right? Like you could be any color in the valley and it'd be cancer.
The valley's cancerous, but I love the valley. Actually, I say this every time. We shit on Visalia, but I still love that place, man.
But I only let people I get really upset when people who are not from the valley or have not spent enough time here like hate on the valley. Like I will hate on it all day. I will like hate on it with like people who have like been here forever, but people who have just visited or not really spent any time, it always comes across super classist or racist or like just full on biased. And I'm like, no, screw you. Like, you don't even know this place. And then I will like love on it because it also like I have a lot of love for the valley. So like I will hate because it's like you pick on your siblings, you know what I mean? But like if someone else tries to pick on your siblings, you're like, hell no. Like,
Yeah. I don't pick on my sibling, but
well, that's you guys are like
but
adorable.
I still, huh?
You guys are adorable. You're like the perfect sisters. That's
We are adorable. We are. It's ridiculous. But if someone, I kind of agree with you, Laura. Like I'm kind of the same. It's like, well, you know what? But I think it's because I get embarrassed. Ouchie, ouch, ouch, ouch. I think it's because I get embarrassed.
I'm proud of my
Like-
dirt roots, man. Like I'm
Yeah. Yeah, I am too. But like when someone trashes on it, then it's like, then that's what you think of me.
Oh, totally. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know?
Did you ever
And
get like no offense, Brooke, but the Valley sucks.
Oh yeah.
The no offense.
then I'd be like,
the no offense
yes, it
statements, yeah.
does. I'd be like, I agree. It does.
No offense, Eric, but where's Visalia? No offense, Eric.
I
but
say
why
it's
does it
the
smell like
asshole
cows?
of California.
Yeah, it's
I
definitely.
I say it's the asshole of California.
No, that's Bakersfield. But
Yeah, Bakersfield.
Mm.
And the armpit is Fresno, so we're like the
Yeah.
ribs.
We're the
belly
navel.
button.
The navel. That's cuter.
We're the navel.
Where the lint gets stuck.
Yes. Holy shit, though. Yes. Yes.
I think you just came up with a
So
metaphor to
what's
explain.
Visalia like? The lint in your belly button. Yep.
I think
Absolutely.
the lint is. No, I'm actually not gonna say that. Oh fuck it, I don't care. It's online. I think the lint is like the people who kind of like never left and just kind of got stuck there.
Don't call me lint.
You've wandered out
I
here and
left.
there, Brooke
Yeah.
Rogers.
I
Get outta
left and then I came back and I fucking better get out of here again.
All I know is when I moved, when my parents told me we were in San Jose, they threw boxes in my room and said, "You're moving." They're like, "Where are we going?" Visalia. And I kid you not, I don't know who it was. If it was my older brother, younger brother, said, "We're moving to South America." Like, never heard of Visalia or
That's
anything.
so cute.
And then my
Had an older
parents-
brother. I thought you were the oldest brother.
I'm the middle child.
Ah.
Yeah.
But my parents, my grandma grew up where she lived in Selma. Like, grew up in and before she moved in with us in the Bay Area. And they said, "Remember where Nana used to live?" We're like, "Yeah, like an hour south." And we started crying. Like, we're moving to the Central Valley. Like, we were in an uproar. Like, we were so upset. Like, it's gonna be 100,
Aw.
115 during the summer when we had like 85-degree weather all the time.
Even that's too hot.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need it to be a nice 62, and then you won't hear me complain. One time when I was in school, we were like talking about ourselves and like, where are we from and blah, blah. It was like an orientation kind of a thing. And, you know, I said I was from Visalia. And then this guy came up to me afterwards. He was like, "That sounds like a really like Visalia. It just sounds like it's really nice. Where is it? It sounds almost exotic." And I was like, "Bro."
And he asked for your
Smells
number,
like
right?
cow shit every day. No,
It's like,
God.
but Visalia, it like growing, like getting older. I started to appreciate more of Visalia than I did in my 20s.
Oh.
I always told people that Visalia is the best when you're growing up. In your 20s, get the fuck out of there. But when you're ready to die, go back to Visalia because things are cheap. All your friends are there, and the burritos are like $4. You can't say no to these burritos. You know,
Because all the old
It's true.
people loving burritos.
like,
It's true.
if you needed a reason why to go to Visalia, it's gonna be because of the burritos or just like
Dude, taco trucks
tacos,
in
yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Visalia, to me, Visalia Fresno has the best Mexican food. If you can
Yeah.
overlook, yeah,
We're spoiled.
if you can
Like,
overlook,
No doubt.
if you overlook the racism and the gang violence,
See,
move
that's
to
like, I
Visalia.
can't.
But even,
Sorry.
even as like us, we're growing older. I think Visalia too is growing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
have
wild.
young professionals coming to engineering firms that are coming from like North Carolina and stuff like that, and they're falling in love with like downtown and how much
It's
Vice
so cute.
and everything.
Downtown is hella
Downtown's
cute.
cute.
Like
Downtown's really cute.
if I were to move back to Visalia, I would start at Plenty of Fish, get a date.
Farmers only, Eric.
Farmers only. No, because I have to.
Farmersonly.com.
No, because the land has to be underneath my name in order for me to apply for farmers only. I looked it up. You have to own land.
Shut up.
You have to
No
own
way.
land. Yeah, you have to own land to sign up for farmers only. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What about Scotland? You can buy that one by one.
It has to be a certain amount of acres. in order for you to be considered farmers only. I don't know why I said Plenty of Fish. Oh yeah, because I was on Plenty of Fish looking for fucking girls in Visalia. That's what I was doing. I was super bored. Hey, what are we gonna do? I was at a funeral. I had to do something with my time.
Oh God.
But I'm a 30-year-old man. I need to have needs too. But
dirty or dirty, Eric.
but Visalia, like, it does have a nice downtown. Like that whole strip, the downtown is beautiful. I remember like when Andrew, your brother, and I were on our date before you, because you are married now. I was just like taking pictures of downtown because how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
You know,
it's always been cute too. Yeah, but it's gotten cuter. It's true.
Like when we were growing up, the shops were empty and vandalized, but now they're like cute little boutiques, eateries. It's a good place to eat. Like obviously COVID sucks, but then eating outside made me really appreciate how the sky looked when it was setting in Visalia, like especially that downtown area.
I'm such a sucker for that. Like that's the one thing I will say, like with one of the good things that have come from COVID, the silver linings of like, I love that European vibe of just like everyone camped out in like the street and like more walking going on. And like, I like that cuteness. Like, and here's actual good weather for it. Like San Francisco did not have the weather for eating outside and yet everyone's trying. And like, here's like
moment where they started singing Hallelujah at the end and I look at, why they choose the Shrek song? And she just looks at me with like pure like shock, like it is more than just Shrek. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was the OC season 1 ending song.
Oh my God.
Season 3 ending song and season 4 ending song.
Okay.
Also written by Jeff Buckley. All right.
Children over here, like with your
Jeff. I think the original was written by Jeff Buckley, right?
No, Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, both of you. Between Shrek
Jeff
and
Buckley does a beautiful version of it. It's probably my favorite version other than Brandy Carlisle's, but
There's
that's
all right, I'm sorry. All right. Growing up,
it's okay.
Growing up, my music was a bunch of fucking flat windpipes and ladies doing slow motion Tai Chi with fancy fingernails. Okay, that was the music that I grew up listening to. Thai music.
Oh my gosh, Thai music, the videos always crack me up, like when you're in a Thai restaurant and they have like those music videos on in the background and it's like the prettiest song but the weirdest like visuals of it and I don't know what's happening.
Have you guys ever been to a rave?
Yes.
I have.
Okay, so Brooke, you're gonna have to look this up. There's something called a light show. Back then I used to do glow sticking, which arcade. Back in my day, we used glow sticks, which is what I did at the Mr. Ranger dance.
But they have those gloves now and stuff.
But so like nowadays they have those gloves. They're called gloving now to get a light show. To me, sometimes
that does not sound appropriate.
That doesn't sound great.
To me, like sometimes like
it's very sexual.
Like sometimes Thai music looks like these ladies are giving a super slow motion light show with no lights. You have to see it. It's a spectacle, man.
That seems accurate, though. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, there's just like, and doing the fucking driller dance at the same time. It's like driller mixed with a light show. You're giving a light show to the driller dance.
That sounds awesome.
It's pretty pretty entertaining. I always end up staring at those, like with the faces on.
You guys can only talk positive things about it. I can only talk about negative things.
I mean, I don't have anything negative to say. Like, I don't know, like, what they're doing. So it's just, like, interesting.
It's just super slow motion, though.
And it looks very old school. Like, I feel like the only ones I've seen, I think, were filmed a long time ago. Like, they were filmed in, like, the 80s or 90s or early 2000s. Because the only ones I've seen, like, it's something about the videography about them.
Yes, you can tell.
Yeah, well, just, like, that's because they can only, a third world country can only afford 10-year-old cameras.
You guys were in German, right? In German class, right?
Yeah, we were in German.
Do you guys remember those German videos that always seemed like they were filmed in like the 90s earliest? That like it was just these random like cars, but they were all in like between the clothes and like the videography just seemed so old school. At the
French
time.
Was the same. French class was the same. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was like this was filmed in 1997.
Dude, do you remember how
my ASL classes, the videos that they would show? Oh my God, we're talking 1992. It's fantastic,
dude.
great.
We were so invested in those German videos. I wanted to know what happened between that fucking. It was like these like a boy this love triangle. I was like, I wanted to know what was gonna happen. Like who did he end up with?
I have to feed my cat. Hold on, I'll be back.
Like, did I have to take German 4 to figure out what happened in this saga?
I didn't take German 4. Did you guys take German 4?
No, I stopped at 2.
I stopped at German 3.
Me too. I think I took like the needed amount and then like dipped. And like honestly, I learned such little German in that class. I think that's the class that I learned how to skate by classes in and how to like fake homework.
So
luckily, dude, I'm gonna look 25 for a long time, and that's great.
Get it, Eric.
So going back to This Is 30, Eric, do you have a minimum age where you're in the 20s, right? I can't do it. Like,
oh yeah.
20 doing what?
Like, so like when I started actually putting myself out there again, I had like a strict age limit. Like, I could not date somebody less than the age of like 27, basically. I could not do like the 25 and younger, basically. I just couldn't handle it. I'm just wondering, like, with you being in your 30s, like, do you have an age where you stop?
18.
Eric, you're such a liar.
No, I remember when I was 28, I came to the realization that I had to date girls over the age of 25 because I was hanging out with a bunch of 19-year-olds with fake IDs on the hill in Berkeley, thinking to myself, it's like, why am I seeing the sun come up again for the third night in a row, hanging out with a bunch of 19-year-olds? The only people who were
2020.
I was like, I remember seeing the fog come in over the Bay Bridge, and then it hit me. I was like, I think I'm too old for this. that was definitely when I learned the lesson. I was like, hey man, all right, maybe we gotta start changing that age range on your fucking Tinder profile. Dude,
like, how old is your wife, or how much younger is your wife? Like, age?
It turns 30 this year.
Okay, so not much. Yeah, just years. Like, Brooke, how do you feel about this? Because I feel like with men, it's so interesting. Like, it seems, I mean, women too, I feel like just the opposite direction usually. But like, how do you feel about age gaps and dating? Because I feel like before, when I was younger, I remember being aware of like the older guys and like, you know, like being too old or something. But now I think I hadn't hung out with, like, I feel like mostly I've dated older than me. And so I hadn't really hung out with younger guys until I was like doing debate with the kids again. And like just being around the young guys, like I felt like, one, I was like teen mom, and two, just like being around them, listening to them talk about girls. I was like, oh my gosh, I do not miss any of this. But like, I'd never really thought about where my limits are, younger or older. I definitely don't think I'd go that far back young, because like,
same.
You know, in theory, like that's cute, but in reality, I would murder them.
Right. I wouldn't want to go younger. So I'm 32. I wouldn't want to go younger than 28.
I was gonna say 28 was about the time where you kind of wake up, be like, oh, I'm supposed to be a like true gentleman. Like, basically there has to be some point where men wake up and go, okay,
right.
I need to be an example for the younger generations, basically, and then turn into that grumpy old man yelling at younger kids for like, was it back attacking young women for no reason?
The back attack is so funny. I'm never gonna forget that now.
Yeah, actually, I coined the back attack in my blog post, or that post for Our Heart Raves, how to not creep on girls at a festival.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I
read that. I remember.
Yeah, in hindsight, reading it again, I'm like, oh fuck, these are exact instructions on how to creep on a girl at a festival. I was like, oh fuck. But yeah, dude, I think, I don't know if you guys want to keep this in or not, but I think dating it's something that does change after the age of like 25, especially in your 30s.
Yeah.
Like dating like trying to date in my 30s now, I do the was it from How I Met Your Mother, the front porch test, where if I don't envision myself on the front porch with them, I can't date them. Like, even just for like sex, dude, fuck sex. It takes time, it takes money. It's just easier to jerk off. Like, I got it. I'd rather jerk off for 10 minutes and feel ashamed of myself than spend a whole year with somebody where I know there's no future. Because then I'm just wasting my fucking time.
Well, yeah, it goes back to kind of like the recent SNL with Dan Levy, like the whole Zillow commercial. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
No,
No, I need to though because I fucking love Dan Levy.
They should have used that as an actual commercial, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're in your late 30s and sex doesn't do it for you. So what do you need to do to get excitement? You get on Zillow and start looking at your future. Like, I could live in North Carolina in a mansion.
But like they did it in the same form as like those, those commercials that used to, I don't know if they're still out there, but they used to play late at night and they were like to call for like
yes,
but
call
like,
to talk to Lacey.
Yeah, so it was like
party hotlines, yeah,
commercials, but like for Zillow, and like it's so good.
Okay, yeah, no, I've not watched it yet, but I will. I love Dan Levy.
He's so good.
But that's so true, right? As you get older, like the less you want to have a fling. But obviously, I'm speaking from someone who's like never had a girlfriend and just been single, and it just like getting older is just like don't look at me. It's just like getting older is just like you
just denied us online. That's what I'm about.
You just didn't say his name. Say his name. I was listening to that song earlier today.
But like what I'm saying, like when you get older, you start having like, all right, is it worth going through the motions, especially like during the time of quarantine? I know we started talking about this last time, Laura, about how dating now has been different because of quarantine. People are now forced to open up more than just whatever is going on social media, and it's just kind of like speeding things up for young kids nowadays. And now I think we're at the age where it's not really being sped up. Now this is the time where you have to start figuring out what is worth anymore, because time now has more value than it did before in our 30s.
Yeah, well, you guys get like some freedom. Like I feel like women, like in general, like it just depends on like your goals. Like if you want kids, like of course, I don't feel like the pressure of the biological clock, but I'm very much aware that that's like a physical thing that like if I like want to have actual kids, that I have to like think that through sooner, because like it's so interesting. I know people who have had kids way later, and yet even still, like even though they're great and their kids are great, they were considered geriatric pregnancies, which is so funny to me because in my mind they're still young, and yet apparently past 30 it's like
past 35.
Yeah, well, like some of them were like just past 30 and they were still considered like a geriatric pregnancy. So like,
oh god,
I didn't know that until finding out through like a friend who was like, oh yeah, and like they weren't even like the high risk ones, they were just like still considered like
wait, what is a geriatric? I never got that far with women.
Okay.
It was
Eric, I love you.
I never got that far. I was always the side boy.
Okay, well, this is, I don't think you would have to get this far, and probably who you're dating is not, you're not going to worry about this, but like geriatric pregnancy just means like geriatric in general, it's like old, it's like elderly basically, and like it's crazy, like it's like wild to me because like I don't, and at the same time there's like mixed studies on that, because there are people who say that in your 30s is like a good time to have kids, and there are people who have kids in their 40s and beyond still. So it's like so confusing to me because there's so much like out there. And like for me, I've been like fortunate enough to not like feel that rush. Like I think there's a lot of ways to become a parent. There's a lot of ways to like have a relationship. There's a lot of ways to be on your own. Like I don't think that one set thing is like set, but like there's so many people who model, like we talked about the expectations thing, like model their lives out of like, a nuclear family, and like that stereotype of 2.5 kids by this time and like married by this age, and like I just counting my lucky stars that like I was not on those paths necessarily, because like I am fortunate to have had the experiences I've had, but looking back on that, like I would not have been ready for those things at those ages. And like I know so many people who did have them and weren't ready, and that just makes it so much more complicated later in their life. And like I don't know, I think that you can have some complications and have that in general at a young age and be like fantastic. I know people who've gotten married really young, had kids really young, and they're great, but like to each their own, man. We all do things on our own like path and our own timeline. And I feel like that's what I don't like is the like forced timeline thing, or the forced like, oh, you're at this age. Why don't you have kids? Why aren't you married? Why aren't you like in this kind of place in your job? And it's like, dude, I would have been doing so much stupid stuff if I'd done that in those ages.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like I've heard so many like posts and things saying like people need to stop asking me. I don't think anyone has ever actually asked me, but they've asked my parents.
Really?
They'll be like, is Brooke seeing anyone? Just, do you know if she's ever going to want to get married? If she's ever going to want to have kids? They ask my parents. They don't ask me.
That's, I think, a weird women thing too. Like I've noticed that of like the indirect thing where you're like not even like you're the subject, but you're also the object, where they're not asking you directly.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Like,
It's like, what, did they need like a barn raised in like 16 years? Is that why they want you to get pregnant now?
I don't.
Like the Valley too, everyone has kids so young, and like I think that there's like this kind of expectation or normalcy about it, like that it just like becomes expected. Like, did you guys ever get that like of like the when are you gonna settle down thing, or is that like more on the female side? Like
I did.
I think, yeah, I mean, I felt that pressure until I went to college and then told my parents, I'm not coming back. I'm going to go stay in fucking rave for the rest of my life. And they're like, all right, he's done. There's eight more
kids.
There's eight more kids.
You have enough kids.
There's eight more kids to pump out kids for us. Eric's done. Like but beginning, like there was a lot of pressure. I think there was also a lot of pressure to like marry another like Laotian or Thai person too. We didn't really have the freedom either. So I think it just comes from old conservative values, and then after a certain age, you just start realizing that I'd rather be doing things for myself than what people expect of me.
Yeah.
And we could definitely go down a deeper rabbit hole than that, but I know everybody else, a lot of people, we all share that same experience.
Question, like, how long did you date your wife before you guys got married? And like, when did you know / decide you guys were gonna like tie the knot?
Was it 30?
Oh, so honestly, like I had the feeling from date one, like as
So cute.
Disney as that sounds, like
No, I love it.
Fugazi.
I know. I'm like, oh.
We went to Fugazi's for a quick interview because we were very much.
Wait, is she in the room with you? Can you tell her to leave?
No, she's in the living room. But
you're free to say whatever you want, man.
I can talk.
Get out of here, Eric.
I can talk. She'll hit me behind closed doors. But no. So where was I going with this? Okay, so we were supposed to have a quick kind of date. Basically, we went to Fugazi super early on a Taco Tuesday, and
I love Taco Tuesdays.
we just talked. And before I knew it, all of a sudden, like the server came up to us and said, "You don't have to go, but there's nobody here." And we looked around, we closed the restaurant down, and we felt so bad. So it's like we left the biggest tip we could possibly leave, and it's like, okay. So it's like after that, it was pretty obvious, but it's like we met online because when I moved back to Visalia area, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna go out to a bar and like try to find somebody, basically. So
you don't want to find love at Double L Steakhouse?
Lum
Trouble
Lums.
L.
That's my go-to. Lum Lums.
Lum
with
Lums.
that purple drink pitcher that's like $5.
It's called the Voodoo or Voodoo's Revenge if it's the really dark one, and they're both death in a pitcher. Like I have thrown them up outside in that alleyway.
Nice.
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
It's been a long time. That was not since the 30s.
Well, it goes back to like this is 30. Me after having 2 drinks, I'm 3 sheets in a wind. Like I am so loopy. I'm just like, hey everybody's my friend, like type of thing. It's like loosey goosey.
Yep.
Been there, yeah. Like, can I?
Same. Oh my
dude.
gosh.
The hangovers,
Same.
those are real.
Oh, the week-long hangovers now, where and Arsenio's burrito doesn't do it and fixes it all.
Man, I remember going to Blackout Wednesdays Blackout Wednesdays on.
Is it like everything's blacked out or the?
No, it's the day.
Drink until you black out.
Yeah, Blackout Wednesdays, the day before Thanksgiving in Visalia.
Oh, that Blackout Wednesday. Okay, yes.
And like I remember going to Blackout Wednesdays, dude, and just like fucking raging, and then waking up the next
like
day.
A high school reunion.
Yeah, yeah. But now I'm just like I drink like maybe 5 drinks, and then I'm just like I'm done. Like there's no coming back from this. I'm about to pass out. Like there is no fucking way. Like I was a bartender until I was 30 or 30. Yeah, until I was 30.
I mean, until like you left San Francisco, right?
Yeah. And all my friends be like, "Hey, we're gonna go get drunk," and I'm like, "No, I can't do it." Or even like sometimes like somebody be like, "Hey, you want to get a drink after you get off your shift?" And I don't know what's up with bartenders. When you're a bartender, for some reason, like you're sexually attractive. Like people want to go hang out with you after work, right? But the moment you go like, "No, I'm a sober bartender," it just all dries up. I don't know why. It's just like I had to go through that, just be like, "Hey, I had to stop drinking because these hangovers were affecting my life, was affecting physically and emotionally." Like before, hangovers were just like
draining.
Fucking John Cho in American Pie 2, at the end of the movie, to about an hour 50 in, where he goes, this sounds like a troll, right? But it's not.
Hour 50 in.
No, it's like an hour 20 minutes in. But after the house party, he goes, "Am I gonna have a hangover? Because I really want one." Being a stupid child till the age of like 28, who idolized American Pie, growing up in high school, I'm like, "Hey, these hangovers, they sound pretty cool. I want one." And I never got hangovers until college, So, but now it's like fuck, hangovers are awful. They hurt. So before, like, hangovers was just like I used to be like, "Oh yeah, hangovers are great. I had a great night. You guys don't have a hangover? You're fucking losers." But now I'm just like, "Oh shit, I have a hangover. What am I doing in my life?"
Well.
Juju, do you remember that Blackout Wednesday? Threw up in the cup.
Yes.
And then,
I remember that one.
Dude, it was a double L. It was a double L. He threw up in the cup,
trouble.
and like you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like this, me and were like, and then there's the cup in his hand had throw up in it. Ah, dude. That's a good time.
Oh my God.
I used to like coming back down to visit everyone and see everyone. I used to just hate driving all you drunk asses home.
Hey,
Oh.
and we appreciate that, and it was great.
That was
Thank you.
before Uber too. That's one thing that these young 20-year-olds don't know. Like,
Yeah.
The struggle was
intoxicated and being like not knowing whether or not you're gonna have a taxi actually come pick you up or not, and actually
Man,
be
taxis.
responsible.
So yeah, what's some last things you want to say about whatever we just talked about? Because I'm pretty sure I'm cutting out like 40% of the things we said in here. Because I think we meant to like start out lighthearted, and then a bunch of technical things happened, and then it got super dark. And then it got super lighthearted, and it got super dark again.
Yeah.
So, some closing
Should we
remarks.
do this in 2 parts?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, if you guys want to do a different one where it's more lighthearted than this one, then yeah, I think today, obviously, this is the first time we've all filmed together, so we're just trying to understand each other's.
I know.
dynamics.
I'm sorry. I talk way
And-
too fucking much.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
No, Brooke, you added the spice.
Mm.
Spice. All right. I'll take it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down to do something more lighthearted. I'm probably gonna change the theme to this to like something like lies we learned at growing up. That's a good thing about being a fucking writer, dude. You could change the narrative as much as you want, but I'm not gonna stray away or put words in anybody's mouths.
No, I don't think you have to, Eric. I think you like. I don't think any of us are gonna like argue with you. I think you can call it as you see it, and we obviously are all a little bit of a tangent type. So.
Yeah, the one thing I learned about writing essays, and last tangent before we get to closing remarks, is that you don't have to write your thesis off the bat. You can make it after you finish your whole essay, and that's how I fucking write my blog post. I don't know. I wish I knew that instead of being an alcoholic in college. But yeah, closing remarks. Things, the lives that we learned. Anything you guys want to say before I stop the recording?
I think the one thing that you focused in on, Eric, was you don't have to fit a norm to be happy.
Be yourself, yes. Be yourself.
And that's something you learn in your 30s, I feel. Like a little bit more and more, I feel, but I think I'm getting more like myself. Not fully, but I'm closer than I was in my 20s to being comfortable with being like, yo, I'm Brooke. Hi. Deal with it. I'm not there yet, but I'm closer.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's kind of all about like figuring it out, like raising awareness and like becoming more aware, but then also like owning your stuff. Like once you become aware, then like recognizing so much of ourselves. So, like when we're younger, we try to hide. And I think that like, you know, there's like one of the like lies, I think, is this way of like that you have to be a certain way or that you have to like do certain things. And I think that we figure out what we have to do and who we have to be as we like become more aware of ourselves and as we start owning it. And like, I don't know, I just like love that about like, I like this mixed group of like, there's so much that like I become aware of for myself when I look inward, but there's also so much like become aware of when I'm like getting outward, like with the mix of people that I'm around. And it's so important to like, you know, that finding your tribe and not like trying to force yourself into a certain tribe. Like I like that.
Right.
Like that give and take that happens with like, you know, the right people and like just, or not even the right people, I feel like, but like, you know what I mean? Like you find the rightness within people and you find that like, I don't know, it's a balance.
That jive.
Like,
yeah. You know, like just growing up, you start to learn and understand the sound of your voice. You start to understand the sound of other people's voices and you start to tune other frequencies out that you don't need or that is not beneficial to your own life. And the other frequencies could be, you know, other influences. It could be lies that you have to unlearn. It could be lies that you're learning now. And it's obviously the older you get, the more you're going to be able to hear yourself and be yourself. And I guess turning 30 is just trying to be the best version of yourself because you're never going to be the best unless you try. So just be yourself. And on that note, goodbye, Julian.
I think I
Bye, Julian.
After that little speech, Eric.
What'd you say?
I said, you made me fall in love with you all over again after that speech.
You want to come pick me up?
you guys' bromance is one for the ages.
Right, I'm about to hit this button. All right,
If
bye,
if you ever get Eric, seriously though, if you ever get into Bakersfield, like where you know you're going to be in there, like it's easier for me to do that because it's not a full day trip away from work.
Is Bakersfield the name of your asshole?
Hey, all I have to say is I'm still the length of the belly button.
And I'm gonna pick you.
Oh my God.